Could we get the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes going for real this time? Because a couple of years ago, we thought this might happen. Welcome into Mavericks Today. Harrison Graham and Jeffrey Cooperstein. And Coop, there is some doubt on Giannis, or from Giannis, on Milwaukee's future. Things getting spicy here. Let's get to his quote of his sit-down with the New York Times, and then we'll react here. Here's what Giannis had to say. Next summer, it would make more sense for both parties
of signing an extension.
Even then, I don't know. I would not be the best version of myself if I don't know that everyone's on the same page. Everybody's going for a championship. Everyone's going to sacrifice time away from their family like I do. And if I don't feel that, I'm not signing. At the end of the day, I feel like all my teammates know and the organization knows that I want to win a championship. As long as we're on the same page with that and you show me and we go together to win a championship, I'm all for it. The moment I feel like, oh, yeah, we're trying to rebuild.
That's where he left it. So here we are.
So this is funny, Coop, because the last time we kind of heard rumblings like this, they won the title the next season.
He signed the extension and they won the title, yeah. So, I mean, this is not the first rodeo we've been down with Giannis. Questioning his future in Milwaukee, or with the Mavs going on a potential pursuit of Giannis, because we all know what happened in the 2013 draft. We don't have to revisit that absolute disaster with Shane Larkin and Dwight Howard and the whole bit, but we're going to because it's part of the story.
Shane Larkin.
The Mavs obviously have a history with Giannis, and they love the player. And it's interesting. I mean, these comments are sparking questions. In 2 years, if Giannis is a free agent, then going into Luka's fourth year of his contract, will the Mavs be in pursuit?
It's certainly very interesting. Is he a 2025 free agent?
He's a 2025 free agent.
2025 free agent. So things could get interesting. And if this is an underwhelming year for the Bucks, you wonder if he would consider demanding a trade next offseason and kind of giving Milwaukee a chance to at least get something back for him, because this is obviously one of the premier players in the NBA, plays on both ends of the floor. Obviously, he can be frustrating with the lack of perimeter shooting and free throw shooting, but he's a proven champion, Coop. Like there's no doubt that Giannis, at worst, is a top 5 player in this league, and he's probably pretty undisputed top 3, right?
And we'll talk about this later in the show, but a Luka and Giannis duo would be absolutely unstoppable.
Would Kyrie have to get moved? We'll explore. Should the Mavs pursue Giannis if he becomes available? Type Y for yes or type in for no. If you're typing no, you don't like winning championships, so get your votes in. Y for yes and for no. And subscribe to the channel. I'll promise you this. If the Mavericks ever trade for Giannis, we're going live here on Mavericks Today. Coop and I are going to be popping champagne. It's going to be a hell of a time. So regardless, hit that sub button. Videos every single week, getting you ready for the upcoming season. Now,
so I think, you had mentioned it, I think this would have to be a free agency move in 2 seasons. I don't think the Mavericks have the assets, even with Kyrie Irving, to get this deal done. They have a decent amount of young players, but none of which scream superstar, none of which scream future all-star. So I don't think the Mavs have the assets to get a deal done. I think their best bet to land Giannis would be waiting out in free agency, creating the necessary cap space, and going after it once again.
And the cap 2 years from now is supposed to be pretty damn high. That's been the chatter for a while. New TV deals kicking in. So there's no doubt the Mavs could move money around to get him on board, and then you would have a Luka, Kyrie, and Giannis trio. You wouldn't have, it'd be pretty much probably just mostly vet minimum guys around them, outside of maybe a couple of contracts already on your books with like Grant Williams and guys like that. But it's certainly interesting, Coop. I mean, it's the best 2 European players in the NBA with Luka and Giannis, maybe along with Jokic, 2 of the top 3, I should say. How dare I disparage the Serbian who's drinking beer and hanging out with his horses every day. Just so disrespectful on my part. But the point being is you would have 2 of the top 5 players and 3 of the top 20-ish players if you were able to pull this off.
Yeah,
I mean, the expectation would be title or bust. There's no doubt about it.
And I get that we're talking about the Dallas Mavericks, who have a history of free agency swings and misses, which we'll take a look at here. The Mavs have never landed the big free agent. They've tried a handful of times, starting all the way back in 2011 with Chris Paul and Dwight Howard, where it didn't happen. The next summer, Darren Williams, they were one of the 2. They were left at the altar. He goes to the Nets. Dwight Howard again in 2013. He went to the Rockets. We all know about the DeAndre Jordan saga. We don't have to relive that. And then the next summer, they tried to get Hassan Whiteside. Again, bullet dodge there, but he was one of the top free agents on the market, and they didn't get him.
Hey, listen, you don't give the Mavs enough credit. They got De'Aaron Williams just 5 years after his prime.
And
they got DeAndre Jordan just 5 years later almost. Didn't they also try to get Mike Conley when they got Hassan White?
They did also try to get Mike Conley, yes.
That never really had a chance to come to fruition, but that was kind of the rumor. But
they're just not good at big game hunting, and maybe that was part of the old regime with Donnie Nelson and Mark Cuban kind of running the basketball show. Now that Nico Harrison's really the guy who's running basketball operations along with his team, with his staff, I wonder if it'll be easier for the Mavs to pursue big time free agents. I mean, we'll have to wait.
The only reason I would view this potentially different is if Luka and Kyrie over the next 2 seasons show to be a good partnership, but they just need one more piece. Giannis might be like, okay, hey, I've wanted the Bucks to commit to winning. They've already got Luka and Kyrie in place, so they're trying to win. I'll go in there, and the three of us can figure it out. That's the only reason I would view this one as potentially a difference. But I do tend to agree. If it comes down to a trade, you probably don't have the assets that a New York Knicks, an Oklahoma City Thunder, another team, maybe like a Lakers if they want to throw in Anthony Davis or something like that would have. Now, sure, I would give up Kyrie in a trade to get Giannis.
Of course.
Don't get me wrong. But I mean, I think the top goal would be to bring Giannis with Luka and Kyrie, assuming things go well with Kyrie over the next season or two.
So here's why it could happen. We know the Mavs' success with international superstars. Obviously, Dirk, one of the best international players of all time, 21 seasons with the Mavericks, of course, won the title. And then they followed that up by drafting Luka with the 3rd overall pick, who's one of the biggest international superstars ever.
Even though it didn't work out, like they took a swing at Porzingis, and had he stayed healthy, that I think we all agree that would have been a good partnership.
The Mavs have a history with international players, and I think Giannis is aware of that, and maybe that's something he'd want to be a part of to continue that legacy.
That's why the Mavs were so heavily linked to him before, because A, they passed on him in the draft. You had that connection. But B, that they scouted him a lot.
The Mavs were one of the teams that scouted Giannis the most over in Greece before he went to the draft. Donnie Nelson wanted to draft him. Mark Cuban wanted the cap space for Dwight Howard.
You wonder if Donnie is sleeping, or when he goes to bed sometimes, like if Cubes would have just listened to me.
Yeah, I mean,
you probably wouldn't have Luka, but
and that's kind of where I take peace in it, is that you wouldn't have Luka if you had Giannis, but still, I mean, it was the 2013 draft is not one that you want to relive.
It's infamy, and cap space, you'd have plenty of it in a couple of years.
We'll ask you one more time: should the Mavs pursue Giannis if he becomes available? Type Y for yes, type N for no. It has to be, right?
All 30 NBA teams, 29, I guess, because if the Bucks are out of the mix, should answer this as yes. If a top 3 player becomes available, you get your ass on the phone. I mean, it's that simple.
It's that simple.
If not, you should be fired if you're a team GM.
No question.
There's just, I don't care if you're the Celtics and you're coming off a title with Tatum and Brown. You're always, the Warriors are a great example, Coop. They won 73 games, and then they brought in Kevin Durant.
You cannot be complacent, especially when a guy like this becomes available. It's just not something that you can mess around with.
It's fun to think about, too. I mean, you add him into this fold.
So this would be signing him in free agency in 25.
So Kyrie's gone by then. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying Kyrie would be gone.
Okay.
You'd have Luka Doncic, Jaden Hardy, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Derek Lively, Max Prosper.
Yeah.
Starting 5.
Things would probably look a little different. Who knows? Like, is Hardy still? I mean, 3 years is like.
If you want to go crazy into the luxury tax and keep Kyrie, you can, but I just don't see the Mavs doing that. I mean, that would be hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in a luxury tax.
Pay up, Marky.
Pay up, I guess. I mean, yeah, it would be something, that's for sure.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, if you could pair up Luka and Giannis, that would be.
That'd
be the best international duo I think we've ever seen
of all time. Well,
at least on paper,
if you count Nash and Dirk.
Yeah, but that didn't last long enough. And
That's
neither of them were in their primes yet. In this scenario, they would be.
No question.
So
that would be crazy.
It'd be crazy to see if it happened. Now, speaking of international, the World Cup is ongoing, and Luka got it done as he's just carrying Slovenia early in this thing. Coop, have they already clinched?
Slovenia is 2-0, so they will advance to the next round. Luka had 34, 10, and 6 in a win against Georgia today. Dwight Powell yesterday, 9 points and 3 rebounds. He's actually the starting center for Canada.
He's been getting a lot of runs.
He's getting some good minutes there. They played Lebanon, I believe, and got a win there. And then the Australia boys, Exum and Green, they lost to Germany. So they have to win in order to advance into the next round. But
yeah, we knew Germany was going to be their tough test in that group. So if they win their last game, I can't remember who it is, but if it's an inferior opponent, as long as they take care of business, they'll advance.
And for those of you that care, the U.S. had a cakewalk today. They won easily as well, so they will advance to the next round. Still think they're the favorites to win, but and I'll ask you this: I think most Mavs fans are rooting for Slovenia to beat the U.S. if they end up playing each other.
I mean, honestly, probably. If it was the Olympics, maybe I'd feel differently.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
in the World Cup, like if Luka and a bunch of car salesmen beat the Team USA, that would be quite an achievement, even though it is like the B- USA team.
It would still be insane. I hope we get to see that matchup. I think if I remember correctly, that it would be matched up in the quarterfinals.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see what happens, but that would be something crazy for sure.
That would be juicy. All right, he's Jeffrey Cooperstein. I'm Harrison Graham. More World Cup updates to go. And, hey, we're almost into the month of September.
Let's go,
this
baby.
is the time to subscribe. Training camp later on in the offseason, just about a month away. We'll talk to you soon.